So welcome everybody to this month's APM Practitioner Forum. Today's April 28th. I hope everyone's having a great day. Let's see if I can get to the next slide here. There we go. My name's Rocky Pisto. I am your host. Jim Copio is also with me today to help guide the conversation and answer, or at least ask your questions to our team and see if we can address them for you, at least get you in the right direction. Members of the HPBSM SIG, which is responsible for the APM practitioner call, Jim Copio from Whitlock, Mark Laird from Styria, Sandy Schubert from J9, and myself with PCI. We've got years and years and years of experience in the BSM space, going back to HP OpenView. So it's kind of a natural fit for us to be part of this group and to help bring content to you that might be relevant to your day jobs. So this is a session is live. It's being recorded. And feel free to post questions in the question panel, this is what it looks like. So there's a toggle window that you can click to go back and forth, and with that red arrow at the top to find out where you can type in your questions. So this call is very focused on addressing questions that come up from the community. It's a practitioner type event, as it's stated, so that we're talking about real-world scenarios of implementations, issues, concerns, successes, anything that we can kind of share with each other to help us all take advantage of the technology in our company. So just a little bit about the APM Practitioner Forum. It was originally with HP for years. We took it over last year. And if you're not familiar with Vivid, if this is the first time you've been on one of these calls, we are the official independent HP software user group for HP software. We've been around for over 20 years, since 1993, originally as the OpenView Forum, and now we are Vivid. There's close to 6,000 members after we cleaned up our database last week. Kind of went down a little bit, but we're around 6,000 members worldwide of an organization that is in the 27,000 member range worldwide as well, with 76 chapters around the world. So hopefully there is a physical local chapter location where you live. And if there's not, and you're interested in learning how to make that happen, feel free to reach out to us and we can guide you. We've developed a pretty simple approach to helping you bring customers, HP, partners together to kind of learn from each other, get updates, and kind of share that end user experience physically in your location. So if it's of interest to you, Anne-Marie Stouffer's on this call as well, and she can help you with that. So just a couple of announcements before we get started. The Vivid is made up of a lot of volunteers. There's over 100 volunteers that focus on just the local chapters and special interest groups around the world, and just volunteer their time just like we're doing today. And this organization is run by a board of volunteers who've made a commitment to spend a couple hours every other week and get together for board meetings to strategically determine what's relevant for you going forward in helping you with your career. So we have elections every year. Our voting is stagnant, not stagnant, but staggered, so that there's always elections going on. New faces getting elected, and just giving people an opportunity that really have never had an opportunity to be on a board, and they're very active in the Vivid community, either as a chapter leader or SIG leader, or participate in blogs or speakers or whatever it comes out to. get involved, and this is one of the perks of being invited to be on the board. So it's very important that all our members vote. So if you haven't yet, you can go to the website and you'll see a click for voting for the board, I think. So if you have any troubles, just let us know and we'll guide you to the right place. And our annual event is coming up at HP Discover. So Vivint will have a major presence at Discover. We'll be in the software solution area. If you are a Vivint member, and just by signing up for this session, you are a Vivint member, we have a special discount for you available by clicking on the www.hp.com/go/discover/Vivint. You click on that, you provide that link, and it guides you to a discounted price for registration.
Hey, Rocky, when's that expire, that discount? Is it good for the month of May?
I think so. I haven't heard otherwise, Jim.
Okay.
So I think we're still good. Because I know as it gets closer, this is about the time everyone starts to get serious about registering. And we're a month out. It seems it's been flying by, and look forward to making that happen. So the second part of this slide is something that we've done at Discover for a number of years, and it's called the deep dive session. So it kind of takes the typical hour and a half sessions that you typically see at these kind of events, and focuses more than just the new functionality of the product, but we're diving into integrations, customizations, the end user perspective. How does it really work in a real world environment? At least that's what we're telling our sponsors to focus on. And it's a great way to kick off your HP Discover experience. So it happens on Monday afternoon before Discover officially starts on Tuesday. So most people are flying in, getting registered, getting settled into their hotels, and this is a great way to kick off the afternoon and dive into an area that you're pretty focused on. Unfortunately, for us on the BSM side of things, we've only got one session sponsored. The rest are pretty much ALM or SPM or some cloud-related automation best practices. So there's one BSM event. We're hoping it gets online today, tomorrow at the latest. HP's got new people running the session process as well as a new process. So it's taken a lot longer. Usually we have this data running, or has been running in the system by the end of January, early February. So way behind at this point. But for people that are going to HP Discover and are looking to get there early to take advantage of the deep dive session, there is one that's really focused on the OpsBridge version 10, and to really learn a lot about what's going on with that product, and we'll talk about that in a second. So if you've been a Vivint member for a long time, you'll know that we do a lot of webinars for HP and HP partners, and we store these things on our website under, I think you'll find them under community events, and you'll see an area that says HP webinars, and then one of the pull-down tabs. And these are all recorded events that, hopefully they align at least in our space between the apps and the ops space. And so if you haven't been able to catch these things during the events, during the day, you can always go back and catch up with topics that are relevant to you. So one of the things that I wanted to bring up specifically for this group, as some of you may know, HP had announcements made last month regarding the evolution of OM to OMI. There was a lot of confusion early on that OMI was just a newer version of OM, and that's not the case at all. It's a completely different product, and it's one that HP has taken their time to make sure that they've improved on and provided all the functionality that existed in OM and is now available in OMI. And HP made an offer to all customers last month officially that if you're under support with OM, they will give you OMI. You'll have to determine based on what products you own, kind of thing, will determine which OMI components you get. But OMI is an automatic upgrade or migration for OM. Your agents, your spies, all those components that made up Operations Manager will now be transferred into OMI. And this guide that I'm kind of showing you the front page, and if you can't get access to it, just let me know and I will send you this copy. It's about 8 megabytes. And it kind of goes through the whole evolution of how do I migrate my OM to OMI. So very significant announcement, I think, especially for folks that have been on OM since the early 90s. 15, 20 years later, we've got a tool that dives into just covering everything from a service application perspective right down to infrastructure. So keep that in mind that is available now. And actually, if you go into the HP support site, you should be able to find this and find all documentation related to version 10, not just the evolution guide. So if you're an HP customer and you've got an HP Passport account, you have access to this data. It's free. It's nothing you have to purchase. And one other thing I want to make sure you're aware of, that HP, I've requested this a long time ago, and now I'm getting them. So if I own, and I think you can set this up in your notifications with your HP support Mac. Needed. You get these updates, and this is great. I mean, it's just a great way to stay on top of whatever version of the tool you're on and getting updates on any policy changes or issues with integrations and customizations or integrations to other components in the HP suite and when they're going to happen. So again, if you can't read this, I'll have the slide deck available on our BSM site. This session is being recorded, so you can have access to this whole thing after we get it, and it'll be on the BSM site as well. Any general questions, Jim, from what you're seeing?
Yes, there's a couple questions coming in, so let me just grab those quickly.
I think we're ready for them.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a question about, that's not an easy question apparently, but is there some specific steps to follow when having duplicate reconciliation issues? I guess currently the person is opening up a ticket every time, which is kind of frustrating. I don't know if the person's talking about OMI or BSM or OM. It's not specific, because I think the answer would vary by what product is being talked about. I'm assuming it's a BPM question.
Anne-Marie, can we open up Francesco's line, see if he can, he just brought it up. He brought up the RTSM/BSM related to that.
Yeah, Francois, I'm going to unmute you now, so maybe you can explain the question.
That'd be great.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello. Yes.
Hello, Francois. Yeah, we can hear you.
Hello, everyone. So the situation is we have BSM up and running. We have NNMI feeding it. We have OM it. We have SiteScope, and we also have some connector like HP SIM connector. And every now and then we're running into some CI resolution / reconciliation issue. Sometimes we have duplicates. For example, NNMI creates a CI, and then OM will create another CI for the same server, for example. So, as explained, I'm opening up a case every time, but I wanted to know if there was some generic steps we can follow to do some troubleshooting by ourselves without having to always open a case with HP. And I realize this is not an easy question, but I was just wondering if someone has some kind of pointers as to where to look at. I know there's the log file that you could use, the reconciliation logs, but it's not always as clear as you wish it would be where the problem stands. So I was looking for some guidance.
And what company are you with?
I'm with the SNC Lavalin.
And where's that located?
Montreal, Canada.
Okay. That helps us, at least it will help HP, the right guys, the right people to assist you. Asaf, any feedback? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so in general, Francois, there isn't a cookie cutter solution for these kind of issues. To be able to isolate and triage this problem by yourself, you do need to have some understanding on the reconciliation mechanism and the identification rules that are being used whenever we try to reconcile two different CIs. The problem between NNMI and OM reporting nodes is sometimes related to the way NNMI discovered that node versus how OM has the managed node configured in OM. We've seen several cases in the past that if an NMI discovers both IPv4 and IPv6, whereas OM has only the IPv4, it can cause problems because of conciliation rule requires 66% match of IPs. We've seen cases in the past that the node was named So all in all, if you want to really understand why the CI didn't reconcile, you should look at the log file, the cmdb.reconciliation.log. The best way to find out is at the moment that CI were created. So if you are seeing this kind of duplicate, you should probably, to better understand why RTSM didn't reconcile them, is actually to delete one of the CI and make the tool report the topology one more time again, and then capture the exact log snippet that gives more details why the two CI didn't merge.
Okay. I like your example of uppercase versus lowercase. So in this case, would I need to completely change either OMW or NNMI to fix that issue?
Yes, and you will probably be easier to do it on the OMW because NNMI is working with the SNMP system. So
and there's no way to specify in the rule that you want to only use lowercase, for example, force lowercase or something like that, so that you wouldn't have to redo everything?
So actually from the rule itself you cannot, but you can modify the attribute in RTSM and force the attribute to be lowercase or uppercase. That's being done in the CI type manager. And keep in mind that this kind of change is going to work only on the new CIs that will be created. It's not going to update existing CIs. So again, in case of duplicate, you should delete the CI, make the change, and then report the CI again. And this time, if that was the fix, it will reconcile. But as I said, to be exactly sure what is the problem that they didn't reconcile, we need to see the actual details of the CIs to be.
Do you absolutely need to change the debug level for the reconciliation log, or the default info level is enough usually?
Usually info level is enough.
Okay, great. Thank you.
There are additional reconciliation log in the same folder, cmdb.reconciliation.ignored and .merged. So there are additional logs over there that will give additional information as for what was the problem.
Thank you.
Once again, our hero comes to the rescue.
And, Rocky, we actually have a question from our group out to the user community, just to kind of get a gauge. I don't think we have a survey system open, but if I could just pose a question and people could respond via the chat window. But anyway, we're kind of interested in how many customers on this call deployed OMI 10 and or are looking for the integration with APM. So that's kind of our question. Yeah, and I'll repeat it one more time. So we're just interested in how many customers have deployed OMI 10 and or are looking for the integration with APM. It'd be interesting to get some thumbs up or down on that question. So anybody can chat back, and that'll give us some perspective on some things we're trying to do on our end. Thank you.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I'm not seeing a lot of questions, so I don't know if we want to round robin introductions of the various participants on the call and just kind of see where they're from and get a sense of what they're trying to do and or what they can contribute.
Okay, no, that'd be great. And we could start with let's start with Dorothy Amory. Dorothy Monica.
Okay.
Just tell us who you are, what company you're with, what tools you're using, that kind of thing, or how you feeling today?
Dorothy, you're unmuted now. Can you hear us? Dorothy, can you hear us?
She says hi. She's online.
Yes, she's online. If you talk, we can hear you, but maybe you don't have the...
Just yell at your computer.
Okay.
She's got... Oh, that's just her adding questions. Okay. So she's with DFPS in Texas.
Okay.
And so, yeah, she's trying to enter that. So I'll tell you what, let's, they've integrated lots of HP tools. This is the hard way by texting. Of course, it's old, hard for me being 65 years old, but okay for everybody else. I'll tell you what, let's go to Eric, my buddy Eric up at Lubrizol.
Okay, Eric, if you enter your audio pin that I've just sent you, it's #47#. Yes, now I can unmute you. There you go.
Hello.
Hi,
Hey,
Eric.
Hey.
How you doing?
Welcome to the show.
Thanks. Yeah, this is Eric Ashado from Resolve. So currently what I'm actually evaluating, I just got done downloading the other day OMI 10 and looking through the many documentation pieces trying to figure out how I can evaluate this. So we, in our lab environment, currently we're actually just a little heads up for everybody. We're evaluating the latest versions of Asset Manager, Service Manager. We're looking at, I think it's Discovery 10. See, Sharon, Rocky, you know Sharon. One of my other colleagues actually is really working on a lot of that. But from my perspective, what I'm doing is I spun up like 4 servers, pretty much. I'm a data processing gateway connector and Sitescope server. And then what I'd like to do after that, once I get those guys installed and configured, I want to then put OMI like just in a single server instance over there and connect all those together and just kind of evaluate how they work together, and if it's possible, if maybe we can use OMI 10, maybe in conjunction with some of our other tools going forward. So that's what we're working on now. But it's not as easy as you think, really trying to look through. I mean, just the install document alone, if you use the interactive install express deployment, it's 17 pages. So it's like, it's not really easy per se.
Right. Well, we can't complain about not getting enough documentation for OMI 10.
Oh, well, from HP in general, really, especially with BSM, there's a whole doc set. So that's kind of where what I'm trying to filter through now. Just trying to get stuff set up and move forward with the evaluation licensing, and then looking into it a little bit deeper. That also is what I'm kind of trying to get a little bit of knowledge more about it and discover too.
So you'll be there, right? We've been going back and forth on that, so you'll be there.
Yep.
That's good.
And I'm happy to see that a little bit more information on that deep dive too, because I've been looking for that.
Right.
Because I'm actually going to attend in the morning time an asset manager / UCMDB CAB meeting, and then in the afternoon I'm going to do the deep dive. So that's the reason why I needed to kind of get a little more info on that, because I'm one of our people that can't make the CAB. So I'm going to go ahead and just get some info is better than none, the way we're thinking.
Absolutely. Well, at least get people connected so that you've got a resource to help you in that area. Yep. And our deep dives, again, they'll be in the afternoon from 1 to 5 p.m., and they're all going on at the same time. We've got physical locations, and we're expecting the IDs to come through into the scheduler, like I said, hopefully today or tomorrow.
Okay. Will they notify us, or will it be something like we just go back and check?
Vivid will definitely notify you, but you can go back and check as well. If you've already registered, these things should show up as additional events. And just keep in mind that the deep dive sessions for practitioners and everybody is $99, so it's an extra fee to get approved for these events.
Yeah, and I was wondering, that's kind of info too, because I've already packed my agenda, so I'm looking for how can I, pay for that and get that done and have that all good to go for when I go there. So.
Right. Again, we're months behind as far as I'm based on previous years of experience doing these deep dive sessions. So we've been begging everyone to get us the abstracts to market them, to let people know what to expect, so that you can make an informed decision on what classes make the most sense or most sessions, because they're not training sessions. They're more just diving into the product beyond the typical presentation. So.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Thanks, Eric. And Dorothy came back to us with a few more things. So they're trying to learn more ways to implement best practices. They're currently focused on ALM, PPM, Performance Manager, and Team Forward. So they've got some of the testing tools and project management tools and tied into service management from probably Team Forge, or I'm not sure what that is, but can't remember off the top of my head. But anyway, thank you, Dorothy, for sharing that information with us. And Francois, do you want to dive a little more into what you're doing these days?
Sure. So my name is Francois. I'm with CC here in Montreal. Pretty much, as I already mentioned, we have a Network Node Manager, Operation Manager, Site Scope, BPM, BSM, UCMDB, and a couple of spies for WEM and HiSpy for NNM. We're trying to bring this all together, report everything through BSM, and trigger everything from BSM if possible. Right now, we're doing some notification from NNM and OMW, but we're trying to bring all this through BSM so that we can have one single point where to set up maintenance being able to set up an external notification from there, stuff like that. So we're working hard on this right now. We have BSM 924, but we're considering moving to, well, getting rid of OMW and going to OMI 10 and BSM 9.25. We're also in the process of upgrading NNMI.
On what HP's done with consolidation and simplification, they've taken NNM 9.x, moving it to 10 includes all the iSpy metrics for metrics, the developer's toolkit, and a few of the other components, and trying to get more consolidation in there. So at one point, if you own some of the iSpy tools, iSpy performance metrics or the traffic spy, these are being bundled in depending on what version of NNM you're going into. So there's a premium bundle and an ultimate bundle for NNM. And the premium includes the metric spy, a few things. And the ultimate includes some of the MPLS and telephony and some of those kind of things as well. So just make sure you get a feel for what you get in the new versions following your support ban. And again, they have the ops bridge has been split off from BSM as so if you own BSM, you currently have, I think, OMI, is that right? You got some component of OMI, and can't remember, something like that. But anyways, going with the ops bridge, that they're selling that as a standalone product. Obviously, you can integrate APM and RUM and diagnostics and all the other components into OMI, but this upgrade path to 10 is really focused on migrating OM customers, whether they're using Linux or Windows, which are obviously the two most current versions of the product, to the ops bridge. So it's good. You got a lot of work ahead of you.
Yeah, we do. No, we're fairly confident that we'll get it done. I don't know if our target to do the upgrades is towards the end of the year, but I'm not sure yet if it's reasonable or not, because especially from the NNM side, everything is NA, NNMI sends data to NA, NNMI sends data to BSM. There's the BSM connector. There's a lot of things, so we have to be careful. Yeah. We have to upgrade everything at the same time. We'll see. It's quite a challenge, but we'll see how it goes.
No, that's great. Well, again, if you have any questions or whatever, just let us know, and we'll try to help you out where we can, and at least guide you in the right direction. But take advantage of leveraging your sales and support teams from HP or whoever you work with from a partner perspective to kind of guide you along. So.
Yeah, we have an HP rep that is currently calculating all those licenses that will come up of the upgrade to OMI 10, and we're also checking for the transition from NNMI 9 to NNMI 10, and which premium or what's the other one? Platinum, I believe they call it. I don't know. We're checking all this.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's Ultimate.
Yeah, Ultimate. I think you're right. Ultimate.
Yeah, there's Premium and Ultimate.
Asaf, just FYI, there's two folks on the phone that did say there is an OMI 10 integration with APM desire on the table. So that's two for sure, just so you know. Cool.
Okay, thank you.
Anne-Marie, can you unmute Jeff Tokar?
Yes, sure. Jeff, you're unmuted now.
Hi there. Can you hear me?
Hey, Jeff. Yep,
hey,
how
Jeff.
you doing?
Yes, we can.
Good. So I'm actually with HP Software in Western Canada. I'm a pre-sales solution architect. And so I'm just listening in on the call and, seeing where folks are at and chip in where I can. I'm obviously not at godlike status like Asaf, but you know, I'm certainly here and willing to help. And Francois, as far as you're concerned, I was chatting with Shane Lafreniere, who I believe you know as your pre-sales solution architect. He couldn't make this call, but I've been sharing with him some of the information that you've been passing along, and we'll be sure to follow up with you if you've got any questions or anything around the licensing and stuff like that, or the migration. So.
Great, great. Hey Jeff, just from your experience as a solution architect, what are you hearing from customers with regards to, since we're on the OMI 10 conversation, good, bad, ugly thoughts, issues, just anything that can kind of help people on the call to help prepare them to make the migration if they're in that space?
Yeah, so I'm not sure if anybody saw, we ran a webinar just before Christmas with customer Van City. And Van City is a credit union bank in Western Canada in Vancouver, and they're one of my customers. And so they've gone through and done, they were actually part of the early adopter program for OMI 10, and are just on the cusp of sort of putting OMI 10 into full production and replacing their OMI that they have on their existing BSM 9.2x system, and also shutting down their OMW. And so, you know, there's certainly a lot of things to consider, and we're going through it with a couple of other customers as well. And obviously that evolution guide is key that you pointed out, Rocky, to you know, ensure that you understand the steps and the pieces of the puzzle. There's a lot of moving parts there, and so I think it's really important to, you know, if you are going through that or considering that, definitely work with your, you know, your HP sales team to make sure that you understand all the pieces. You know, review that document, and if there's any questions at all or any things that are uncertain, definitely you know, ask for clarification either in this sort of a forum or with your HP sales team, because there's a lot of minutia there, and you need to make sure that you're aware of some of the things that may be changing and some of the steps that need to be taken, you know, as you move through that migration. A couple of the big ones are, you know, the concern around the integration with OMI to APM and making sure you get that right. Some questions around the site scope integration, because now you can kind of do it to OMI 10 versus APM, and there's sort of things to consider in either of those scenarios, as well as you know, spies and management packs is another big issue that you need to really understand. You know, how you do that migration. If you're using spies today, making sure that you follow all the necessary steps and do all the right things to move from spies to management packs. So those are probably the three main areas of concern that I've seen with customers.
Jeff, that's great. I really appreciate that. I mean, the whole goal here is to get a feel for what customers are experiencing with the technology to make sure that, you know, it's a win-win-win for all of us if we can help each other out to make sure that the implementations are successful and find out where the gotchas are early. You know, a long time ago, I was always hoping that, you know, before I did my upgrade, if there was a place where I could go and see what others have experienced doing the upgrade, so I didn't have to feel like I was, you know, like the early adapter. There'd always been someone who's gone through the pain and made some suggestions on how not to go through this again, or, you know, or find out that there is no integration point between this OS and that OS or whatever. So,
yeah,
again, thanks for the feedback.
I'm a big supporter of this forum. I used to be the chapter leader for the Calgary forum back in the OV forum days. But of course, when I came to HP, they wouldn't allow me to continue that for obvious reasons. So, you know, I had to give that up. But I'm a big supporter of Vivid and this sort of forum to share information. I think, as you said, Rocky, it's great to get the experience and the feedback from other customers, and you know, try not to step on the same landmines that somebody else already did, right?
I knew I remembered your name somewhere, but you know, and one of the things that, you know, folks are on this line, and if there is no local chapter, if you will, or group in your area, it's pretty simple. We can help make that happen. So, Jeff, as you're out there talking to customers and they ask, where can I go to learn from each other? That's all I got involved. My customers were asking me, where can I learn what others are doing in my area? And I went to an event in Chicago, and I said, I can do this. And I've been a chapter leader for 15 years in the Michigan, Ohio area and doing events in Chicago, Indianapolis, whatever. So it's just fun bringing people together to help them learn from each other. And you feel like the parish priest at the end of the day. People thank you for, providing a therapy session. So it's a lot of fun. Thanks, Jeff. Let's go to Joe Madden, Anne-Marie.
Okay. There you go.
Hey, Joe.
Joe?
Hey, so I'm Joe Madden. I'm the principal of Greenlight. We're a partner. I joined this just to kind of hear what was going on with APM. As a partner, I'm out of Salt Lake. We focus a lot on the western U.S., although we do things nationally. I was kind of curious to hear just kind of what customers were, focused on, what they were running into. I think with the OpsBridge piece coming out, we're seeing the start of interest of that. We're also starting to do a lot more around monitoring automation. And we're just trying to get a sense of what the market was doing and what the challenges were. As a long time legacy HP partner and a customer at one point, the finality in which you kind of announced that operations manager is really going away was part of what I was hoping to hear and have clearly defined to me. So that was another part of why I joined the call. And so we see customers in different states of, their evolution towards that.
Sure.
So, we do a fair amount with N&M. And then there's other areas of the product portfolio that we do things, service management, automation. But that was why I joined the call.
Joe, thanks. Yeah, it had been rumored for a long time, but it was officially announced in March, right in the middle of my roadshow events, because I had a lot of folks presenting around these topics, that they could finally announce that there was a migration path for OM to OMI. So it is official. As you saw, the documentation is there. And Joe's company, Greenlight Group, is one of our deep dive sponsors as well. So make sure if you're interested in focusing their event on automation. Joe, if you want to talk about it a little bit, we got a few minutes. So
yeah, great. Thanks, Rocky.
That'd be great to promote that.
So basically what we're going to do in Vegas is really kind of take, a lot of our automation practice has been centered around OO, around orchestration, and really leveraging that. So we've done a lot with CSA. Actually, we do a lot of integration with service management tools. So whether it's HP Service Manager, we've done a lot recently with SAW, or we do a lot with ServiceNow. Actually, we just finished a project that went live yesterday with Sharewell. So, but the idea is to kind of walk through automation as a best practice, and and talk about the new Sava, which is what they've done is they've taken the old Sava, which was just SA, and they've wrapped up OO into that as well, and what I'll call a lightweight version of CSA. To kind of give you a more out-of-the-box, more robust set of automation services. So it's kind of a combination of, focusing on OO and CSA, as well as kind of hoping. We've done these in the past, and really what we're hoping is more of a workshop where people bring their box of Legos and say, hey, we're kind of stuck here. How would you approach this issue, or how would you approach that issue? And I did this with NA a couple years ago, and there were a few people in the room that were at least as smart, if not smarter than I was on the topic at the time, and it was a great exchange of ideas. So that's kind of what we're looking for. So I'm bringing in Steph, who's our practice manager, and then actually going to have Tori, who runs our service management practice, and those two have done a lot with tying in service management and automation to really drive IT service automation things that we've done. So.
Oh, great, Joe. So if you've got people going to Discover that are focused in that area, make sure that they know about the deep dive sessions. And again, I think starting either later this week, which is tomorrow, we'll be marketing this thing to the Vivek community, and HP will hopefully have this on their system as well. So we've only got a month to really promote these things and take advantage of providing these kind of sessions that have been very successful at HP Discover for the last 5, 6, 7 years now. So thanks, Joe.
Yeah, thank you.
Last but not least, Anne-Marie, let's go to Peter Mann. Hey, Peter.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, you sound good.
Yeah, Peter Mann. I work for Mentor Graphics, a company in Portland, Oregon, or the outskirts of Oregon. I guess, yeah, we have BSM, BPM, Sidescope, NNMI, and HPSM. Currently, I mean, I do have a question. We're looking at Sidescope 12.0 and trying to, evaluate should we switch over or not. And I'm just curious if anybody knows or can make sense out of why they changed the licensing, and also maybe for the HP person, the free version or the evaluation version that you can download doesn't integrate with LDAP. So for us, it's kind of hard to evaluate because LDAP is a critical piece of our implementation. So I'm just curious if anybody has been able to get a different license or maybe a full version, or something like that.
Well, I'll let Asaf answer the question, but I know from a licensing streamlining approach, we decided it was much easier to focus on a per instance basis versus by points. And so they tried to streamline that process because it was just pretty confusing, I guess, to determine how many points you needed. But Asaf, if you can answer that better than I can, that'd be great.
Yeah, and that's exactly the thing. We wanted to align the agentless monitoring with the agent-based and to simplify the licensing mechanism, and basically saying it doesn't really matter how you're collecting the data, with Sidescope, agentless, or with agent, OM agent, it doesn't really matter. We are charging it the same way.
So is there a way to run, parallel versions? I mean, in the past we were able to run 11.23, 11.24, and whatnot. Now it seems like you can really, combine them and run, in some cases a standalone Sidescope 12 and then the rest of them integrated with BSM.
I don't think I understand the question.
So with this new licensing scheme, you are no longer able to run multiple versions of Sidescope simultaneously.
On the same machine?
Well, not on the same machine, on different machine. So we have an environment where we can run, Sidescope, 11.22, for example. Together with, some servers are running 11.2, some servers are running 11.24.
Yeah, I think I understand now. Sidescope 11.30 is the new version that supports the new licensing mechanism, so you cannot apply the new license on a previous version. So you cannot take the new license and put it on 11.23 or 24. But you can still run them in parallel. Each will have its own license. The legacy model or the new model. I don't see a problem with that. If you're planning to use only the new license, then yes, you need to use only Sidescope 11.30 or later.
Okay. As far as having an evaluation license that's actually fully functional, Have you heard the fact that you can't really integrate your evaluation, license with LDAP?
So let's distinguish between the firmware version that you can download and install and use Sitescope. It has limited functionality. I'm not aware exactly which features are disabled. If you're saying that LDAP is one of those features that is not available in the freeware, I will trust you. You can ask for your HP sales rep to get you a temporary license for the full Sitescope version, and then you should be able to work with the LDAP. I think we usually generate a temporary license for 30 or 60 days.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll try that route. Thank you.
So Peter, what's happened is that HP's created what they call these community versions for a lot of their products, which are basically a way to get customers to try out a limited, like a 50 node pack or a 5 node pack or whatever it may be for that particular tool, just to try out the tool and see if you like it. And then if you like it, then you can, purchase the full-blown functional technology. But at least, people can't say, well, I want to see what it works like, but I need it longer than 30 days or 60 days as, the full-blown evaluation copies used to do. So they've come up with these community versions of the products that, you can test in a sandbox and just kind of get a feel for, it's a way of bringing you back. There's a lot of customers that have gone to other tools, but, they're learning about all the new functionality of these tools from HP, and they go, well, let's try them out. So just remember, the community calendars are these free packages, but they're limited in the number of nodes or OS instances or whatever it could be, but versus a full-blown trial version that's good for 30 days.
Do you know if HP will backport fixes into the 11.2 versions as opposed, or are they going to put fixes only in 11.30 and beyond?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you. There's a
In general, in general the policy is to release fixes on the latest version if it's a critical fix. On a previous version that's still under support, then we will release also a fix for that version, but it probably depends on the feature and the fix itself. So
Cool.
in general, no, but there are specific cases that we are releasing also on previous versions.
Okay.
good question.
Hey, Rocky, I just want to do a time check. We have 4 minutes left.
Yep, I saw that too.
To wrap up, maybe?
Yeah, I think so. I think, Peter, are you good?
Yeah, thank you.
Great, thanks. I think we've, I'm not sure if anyone else has come on board. I don't think so. But if there's any questions, you can add them here at this point. But at this point, you'll be seeing a notice from us of scheduling next month's call. And Jim, you'll be running that event, and Sandy will probably be running the next event. So we'll keep everybody in the loop. If you have questions that we didn't get to, please feel free to reach out. You see my email address on the screen, I think, and we'll get it taken care of. So
yeah, these sessions are kind of free form, which are excellent. But if you have specific topics or ideas or so forth you want to address, if you email them ahead of time, we'll be prepared and have the right people on the phone, and we can be very targeted. So, either way, informal or formal, whatever helps you guys move the ball.
Yeah, sounds good, Jim. I want to thank the team for putting this together again. It takes time to make these things happen, so appreciate everybody's time, and thank everyone for attending. With that, go have lunch if you're on Eastern Standard Time.
Thank you, Rocky, for your help.
No problem, Emery. Thank you. See ya.
Bye. Have a nice day. Bye.
Ciao.